Work, unfortunately, a couple of technical difficulties here on the back end, but we were able to see the finale of this one. It ends in overtime with University of Ottawa Garnett squeaking out that win in overtime, of course, minute and 17 in. So, no other than Hexkey, who is very effective on the offense. Hail Monkey Man ends it and wins it for University of Ottawa Garnett.
He really came into his own. And I know a lot of you are like, wait, whoa, they squeaked it out? Yes, they did. There was actually a whole lot of pressure. You got to see Gradster really graduate to that player that we wanted them to be. But Hexkey finding that pace alongside his two awesome teammates in the likes of Claude and J-Chan. And J-Chan honestly ruling the day with a lot of great shots. Claude enabling much of that. And Hexkey being that final piece to really make that into a wily trio that extends their series to, or their overall record to 5-0.
Yeah, and you have to credit NKU because they did come out like a team that just came off a win off of Colorado College 3-2, and they come into this one and technically outmatched from a numbers standpoint. It didn't seem that way on the pitch, except for a couple of moments, especially in that game number 2 or game number 3 rather, where they got it was pretty one-sided there. But regardless, they tried to jump out. I think JF Machine did a good job. Gradster really carrying there to try to make it close, but at the end of the day, in that overtime, I feel like the better team did prevail in this case, in this certain circumstance, but that doesn't mean they can't bounce back. But a fun one nonetheless. Your final thoughts on this one, Hail Monkey Man?
I mean, if we had expectations for the likes of Ottawa, they met them. They were able to take down everyone and what is now conceivably the bottom 5 of this entire Champions White division. But they have yet to face St. Clair or Northwood Blue. So they have done what they need to do to get to their 5-0 record, and it will be tested next week whenever they get to their play. In KU, there was amazing moments when they really were able to kind of decipher this puzzle, this beast that was Ottawa, and then they just ultimately couldn't overcome the talent that really was that stark kind of differential between them. But if they can take those strengths, they can definitely still stay in this upper 6 and be able to really kind of compete going down for the last 3 weeks of competition.
Well, you got to see Northern Kentucky in this one. In the next one, it'll be Eastern Kentucky University Maroon facing off with Central Methodist Eagles. So you don't want to go anywhere. We're here on the NECC network when we come back.
everybody, and welcome back to the NECC Rocket League once again. My name is Bass from the Past, and joined alongside me here today is the lovely Hyperia. And Hype, we are back for the third matchup of the night. It is going to be an absolute barn burner as the Eastern Kentucky University Maroon team take on the Central Methodist Eagles here in the Challengers White Division. I'm excited to get into this one. It's going to be an interesting battle back and forth. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday, my friend?
I'm doing absolutely lovely, and some people who are watching the stream as of this moment and also were at the start, they know I'm doing lovely because, well, I already watched the match here today without you, Bass, and it was a sweep. And talking about sweeps, I would not necessarily be surprised if this is heading towards such a scenario as well. EKU and being 1-4 in the league, and Central Methodist 4-1. So the record's heavily in favor of Central Methodist.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough start here for Eastern Kentucky. They haven't necessarily been able to find the success that they really have wanted, but they have at least found some decent wins and have had some really good contests against a number of different teams here. The unfortunate truth is, though, the Central Methodist Eagles at this point, well, they've had nothing but pretty much success. Their first week was a little bit rough. They went up against University of Alabama Huntsville, their white team, and that was the only loss they took the whole season so far. From there on out, 4 wins in a row against URG, NCC, SICUC, as well as Alabama. Like, they just kept on tearing after that first loss, and it kind of goes to show you this team's on the upswing right now. They're getting better and better every time that they get into another game, so this is going to be a lot of work cut out here for EKU. If they want to try and get this game, I feel like they really need to come out the gate swinging.
Absolutely. They need to get a strong start and keep that momentum going, keep it flowing. Otherwise, it might just be a bit too tough. But I see the players trickling on down to the pitch, so we can get this match underway. It's, of course, a best of 5 and 5 minutes on the clock as usual. EKU versus CMU. And the match has begun.
Here we go. Like you said, a best of 5, so plenty of time for both of these teams to try and develop their play, and that's usually what you see in the first game here. Just a little bit of tentative back and forth as both teams feel each other out. Question is who strikes first in these scenarios? It's always a very important first goal as it sets the tone. Could have been that right there for CMU, but no such luck. Denied by the defense for now, and EKU standing tall, and it's rather impressive to see here, Hyperia.
It's looking good, but oh my word. Okay, that was a clear away until it very much wasn't.
I think that might have been an own goal. I feel like Joe had the save here, and unfortunately Otis didn't quite recognize it. Yeah, slams that one into the back of the net. Not exactly the start EKU were looking for, but hey, it's the start that CMU were looking for. Continuing with their, well, not undefeated streak, but their dominant streak here. And doing the same thing in game number 1. Maybe they can find a second goal to show for it. Or maybe they can get scored upon. Beaker has to retreat rather quickly to try and prevent that. But EKU not looking like they're too deflated from that first goal. They're still right back to it, and I like the firepower so far.
Really strong, and now the counter-attack also being in effect. Phantom, don't think he got a flip reset there. Indeed didn't. That was only with 2 wheels. You need, not even necessarily all 4 on them. You just need to hit that belly button, that flip reset button. Mitt tries to get it through, but Otis this time stands in the way of the shot instead of standing in the way of the clear. Still missing the clear away though, JG. It's an awkward rotation, and then very quickly goes back into it and makes sure that the attack is stopped for a brief moment.
Stop for a brief moment. That's about it. The overwhelming pressure we're starting to see from CMU here. They're just trying to find that one opening and trying to keep EKU uncomfortable in the back end. A lot of U's here, and that's something I'm going to have to get used to, and something that I think, unfortunately, EKU are going to have to get used to is this unrelenting pressure. Second goal now for CMU as they continue with this offense.
That's just an unfortunate clear away. A bit too loose on that first touch. And CMU, they will capitalize directly, being up 2-0 in this first game. And honestly, out of EKU, they seem like they are not completely warmed up just yet. Stuff like that, I don't expect that to be the usual on their side. And now they have to clear it away in panic. It just sends them down a downward spiral where they are struggling to get out of the defense. This big boomer from Joe might just help. Phantom is able to clear it away, pass it into Mix, who even booms that towards the other side as JG looks for the clear.
clear out, but for how long? Oh, for only about a second, because that's all it takes to get a shot on target. EKU finally getting on the board here, and it's in spectacular fashion. What a shot from Otis.
What a boomer, 106 kph. Looking very solid to at least get a comeback or at least something in this series of connection. Phantom tries to dribble down the side. No wave dash coming through, but the block almost coming through completely. Otis is waiting on the back wall. Phantom has to be careful. Last man back. Two defenders did double commit on that play. Otis has absolutely no boost. JG can't force it through, so it's up to Otis now to whip it back into the box. Doesn't need throw it back into the mix as Phantom looks for the clear away. And talking about a mix, here he is trying to go down the line. Just has to be patient though.
Good bump. It's going to set up Beaker for a shot, but unfortunately just a little bit contested there. Enough to deflect it for now. And speaking of deflections, Joe going to starve off the next shot as well. And all of a sudden, EKU really starting to get this offense together, but can they find themselves a solid shot because of it? They've got about 2 minutes to get back into this one. And if CMU do get another goal, though, I do fear they're going to just kind of take away a lot of this momentum that EKU have been building here. They've been trying to get this offensive pressure, and now that they finally have it, they really need to strike while the iron is hot.
Absolutely, the lethality needs to come through on the shots. On the other side, they certainly have it. An open net for Phantom, and
yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about that one, I fear. I can see your cam right now. It's a little bit of a painful moment there. That needed to go in for CMU to try and secure them this game. What about the follow-up? No such luck, and JG out of midfield is going to need to try and contain this one and take back with this advantage. And, uh-oh, they're going to concede here. No, Otis with a squishy save. All right, Otis, I see you, my friend, getting a fantastic save as well as a goal on the other end. And just like that, EKU have tied it up.
this is painful for CMU, but so incredibly deserved for EKU. First, getting a bit lucky, getting a bit fortunate that they missed the open net, but this save was all Otis, directly capitalizing down the other end, and I want to say he's made up for his initial own goal plenty of times over. Joe's up for this one as well. Phantom. Oh my word, Phantom is a bit too slow. Beaker gets it off to his own crossbar and clears it away. Beaker still putting in work. JG on the defense, and that will be an easy clear away.
CMU, though, pressing the issue here. They recognize with a minute left they have given up a lead, which they probably should not have, and now they're going to have to try and battle back here, give themselves some sort of momentum, and what a way to do so. Phantom just gets a little bit of space in this corner, and that's all they need to slot in this angle.
What a boomer, 109 kph, and the power on CMU certainly not lacking. Well, sometimes the open net conversion rate, they're just lacking a bit. I guess they ended up getting it to the similar scoreline where they're up by 1 with only 50 seconds left remain. It's crunch time for EKU. Otis will try and catalyze that attack, or at least start it up, as Mix is up for it as well. Not enough boost or not enough aerial control for that to go on in. This is, hey, you miss an open net, you get this on your side. I guess it all evens out.
I mean, it's not really an own goal. It's a forced one, but it's technically an own goal because I think that JG got bumped into that ball. Probably more than anything, it's not EKU that are bitter about getting scored upon there. It's whoever took that shot afterwards getting a little bit bitter that they don't get credited with a goal. And CMU, though, probably going to get credited with a win here. 30 seconds left, and unless we see something spectacular out of EKU, they're not only fighting their opponents right now, they're really fighting the clock. The clock just ticking down one by one. But they will have a chance out here. Otis, though, dunked by Beaker, and that's going to waste some valuable time. Matter of fact, it might have secured the game. 13 seconds left and stuck into their own half. I just don't see the time for EKU to come back here. Maybe they can get a goal for the road to give them some confidence, but the outcome will be the same nonetheless here. CMU starting off with a little bit of a shaky victory, but it's a victory nonetheless, Hyperia.
They'll very much taken. Well, let's see, Mix can't score the final goal, or at least what I think would be the final opportunity, and indeed it is. CMU, they take home game number 1. But it wasn't quite clean, and not as clean as they probably would have liked. But as you say, a win is a win, a dub is a dub. Going up a 1-0 in this series certainly might just propel them towards a sweep. It could be.
I don't know about a sweep here. Just based on their previous track record, CMU doesn't really like walking away from a series unscathed here. Their last 4 wins, every single one of them, they've given up at least 1 game. The only game that they didn't give up 1 game, they went to 5 and gave up 2 games instead. So it's one of these things. CMU like the path most taken here. They like going through the toil and trouble of different teams and the battle back and forth here. So not that surprising to see EKU with a decent amount of firepower and a decent amount of potential here in the series. The question is do they ever take that game though? And once they do, does the momentum kind of flip for them? Because that's something you see a lot, especially in collegiate Rocket League, is that once momentum is in favor of a team, they really start to run with it.
Absolutely. Momentum is a massive factor. With that comes morale, and once you've got that under the belt, you can certainly propel yourself towards great things. Let's see whether EKU might just be able to do that without any momentum. Notice up front, races mixed to the ball is 50 and high up in the skies. Beaker 50 low in the skies. And this time Mix gets a free touch. Beaker still underneath and pops it up for himself. 33 boost in the tank. Let's Mix take over. Phantom rips a shot, but Joe gets in the way. Beaker still out of defense, trying to get into the action. Is oh my word, Beaker! That is a beautiful one.
I don't know how else to describe it. Look at, like, this may seem like a standard shot. Look at the placement. Almost every part of that goal was covered. The ground covered by a player. Top right covered by a player. Going across midfield or mid-net covered. Top left is the only place Beaker probably could have found a gap in the defense there. Almost lost my train of thought as I thought we were going to see our 3rd own goal of the day. No such luck on that one. Would have been something spectacular. And I'm realizing I said of the day. Hyperia, you casted before here. Tell me, am I wrong in saying that we've had more own goals in this series than we've had the whole day?
Well, I mean, I've casted only one, and in which there were, to my knowledge, no own goals. And I say that with a questionable thing, since I am not great at remembering stuff, but I don't need to remember in this play because Beaker just converts.
It does sound like, according to production, we've had 1 own goal here, but let's hope that's the last one we see. The chaos reigns supreme, makes for an entertaining back and forth, but we want to see plays like this out of CMU. They're getting methodical with their offense. They're starting to develop a much better rounded offense all around here. I'm rather impressed by it. We're really seeing an EKU, which is giving them a decent amount of pressure, but just somehow, some way, CMU seem to stand tall and be ready for it every time. Matter of fact, they're ready for even the counterattack. Mick's gonna send a shot on target, and Phantom will be there for the rebound. CMU continuing with this unrelenting pressure, and we're only about a minute into game number 2, and they're up by 3.
Forcing those mistakes, JG couldn't quite get the clear out to the side, and when you take it through the center, Phantom will be lurking there, and he will certainly convert. Very simply put for CMU. Once they get an open net, I wouldn't even continue that statement looking back at what happened earlier, but once they get an open net, they're 50% of the time going to score. I guess that's good enough for now, as they're up at 3-0. Notice it's been a massive factor for the start of EKU. Well, this time, not going to convert.
Not quite able to do so, but again, it's that unrelenting pressure from CMU that we're now seeing at an EKU. They're starting to do the same thing on the other side, just not give the room for CMU to develop a play out of their backfield here. Oh, but maybe a cross-court will be that instead. JG does make the save. Now CMU with a chance to just keep that pressure. Maybe not. Beaker all the way on the back half by themselves has to just try and save that one and keep the offense from starting again. And now we're getting a little bit more of a back and forth here. It feels like both teams are starting to really feel themselves, and it's becoming comfortable for both sides. But unfortunately, an even game isn't what EKU need right now. They need to be in favor because they are down by 3 and only have about half the game to try and make this comeback.
It will be a tough one for sure, especially when Phantom tries to make matters worse. Arcs it on target, and it's such a low and soft tap, but it will make it on it.
Sometimes this is actually better than booming a shot on target. If JG is there and Joe is there for the follow-up, you boom a shot in, hey, it's just more power that they can clear it out with. You put a soft floater like that, all of a sudden the defense has to try to figure out a way to keep it out, and not only keep it out, but keep it out from a follow-up touch. Had that one not gone in, I guarantee you CMU would have had someone else there to put a shot on target. Speaking of which, 2 players go up for that one, neither one able to find the back of the net. But CMU at this point don't really need more goals. They are halfway through this game and have a 4-goal lead. All they have to do now at this point, High Fury, is hold on.
Hold on is exactly what they will try and do, or, well, maybe just extend and make it even more comfortable in their little space that they're sitting in right now. Beaker take it to the skies, a low boost in the tank, and Otis with an absolute monkey of a challenge. It's a lovely one that works out, though, as Phantom goes across the top, and, well, sometimes going quick, aka monkeying, just works out.
Phantom said, hey, remember how last game you guys scored a goal like this? Let me show you how it's done here. Just cross-court bangs this one into the back of the net. EKU gonna have to really go back to the drawing board in between games here. I don't want to call this one already, but just based on the stats alone, High Fury, this feels incredibly in favor of CMU. They have a total of 11 shots versus their opponent's 5. They quite literally have more they actually have even the exact same amount of shots or goals as the opponents have shots here. So maybe a little bit confusing, but all it's really meant to say here is that CMU are controlling this offense. They are by far in domination here in terms of controlling the pace of play and just this offensive pressure. If EKU want to try and turn this one around, they just need to get on offense more. It feels like they're getting locked into their half, and once that burn starts, it's a slow burn until eventually a goal is found for CMU.
And at this point for EKU, they also get to, or they also might just get down on themselves a bit for just not quite being able to break out. You feel suppressed. You feel like you can't really do your own plays. As Otis, he's been trying to force them with JG. Throws it away to Phantom. Phantom goes across the midline. Here's an opportunity for Otis, but directly blocks at the roots of the plate. Otis is just getting absolutely no space. And not only Otis, it's also Joe, it's also JG. Everybody from EKU, they just are forced back in their own half.
Getting forced into their own half, and they're just not seeing a reprieve here. The shot was inevitable here as Beaker finally finds the back of the net. But in that time, I believe they added on another 3 or 4 shots. Last we checked in with CMU, 5 goals on 11 shots. Now they're at 15. So it just kind of goes to show you, they don't necessarily need to have shots that are always going to hit the back of the net. They just want pressure. They're waiting until EKU eventually breaks down on defense. And when that opportunity arrives, they strike very quickly. So 50 seconds left here at this point. It's definitely going in favor of CMU, but it's up to EKU if they want to try and stay in this series. First game was rather close. The second one, not so much. So I think it's time for them to go back to the drawing board, try a little bit different of an offense and defense both, and if they can make a necessary adjustment, I absolutely think they can stay in the series.
Absolutely. Reverse sweeping. It's always a tough task. You lost 2 times in a row to a team, and then you have to beat them 3 times in a row. Momentum in that regard is massively important. Otis rips a shot. JG will try and follow suit, and he does get it. No way! Oh my word, Phantom somehow managed to get back to that play. It didn't matter, but still it's crushing.
I cannot believe the CMU just don't even want to give any sort of momentum here. And it just goes to show you the reason why they've got the stat leadership all around. They almost have a 7th goal to go, but they'll take the shutout in 6 instead. Fantastic play out of CMU, but we got to go over these stats for a second, High Fury. This just kind of goes to show you the utter domination. EKU and CMU both with 8 saves. Both teams had literally the exact same amount of saves. The only difference is that EKU, their highest shooting player in Otis, had 6 shots. Every player on CMU had 6 shots, 18 total to the team. That is quite literally double to the EKU 9. So while both teams played a pretty solid defense, one team had more offensive pressure, and that by far was CMU.
Yeah, and that just comes from being able to control that midfield and being able to control the boost game. CMU, their pesky little bees are flying around the yellow boost pads in EKU's corner, which disallows them to break out, really corners them, and at some point you just run out of boost. You get a weak clear, and they use all their boost to get an absolute ripper. Good luck replying to that. Good luck responding. You might want to, but it's basically impossible when you don't have the most valuable commodity in this game, and that's boost.
It really is. It's so difficult, especially I would say at this rank where a lot of players rely on that speed in order to keep them in a game. And if you're relying on speed and all of a sudden you've got no extra speed to keep up with the other team, it's you in the air. They set themselves up something a little bit special, and then all of a sudden the defense starts to crumble with it. So it's not one of these things where I think that EKU are out of this by any stretch of the imagination. They are by far still in this one, but minor adjustments at High Fury. They need to get on offense and really stay on offense for extended periods of time.
Baby steps. Baby steps is always how you start the reverse sweep, but oh my word, that's a big step for Joe to clear that away, and this time the post does a bit of work, with Phantom will drive on through. And remember what I said, at some point you just get low on boost, and they use their boost to keep on ripping through. well, exhibit number 8.
And unfortunately, it's also showing something else, which is unrelenting offensive pressure, because that boost led to 3 shots in 12 seconds, Hyperia. This team's unrelenting. They're not going to give up no matter what. They may have had a dominant victory in game 2, but they're looking for a dominant victory here in game 3 as well. They don't even want to give the chance for EKU to get back into this one, and you can understand why. Again, EKU in the first game of the series really did look like a very solid competition in comparison to CMU. It's been as the series gets further into this one that it seems CMU are getting more of an advantage. So they don't want to give them that confidence back. They do not want to see that EKU could really be a threat to the team, because we know it's there. We know it is possible. They just need that one spark of life, and maybe they can find it here. Joe, the shot off target, a huge opportunity. Maybe EKU can find a slow burning offense.
I think Otis, he can really be at the core of said offense, try and get down to the other end, and Joe and JG, great backup plays to try and facilitate that as Otis here, he goes past one, flip reset maybe coming through, does indeed get a flip to boot, and Phantom just drives right underneath, JG keeps it into the attack, Joe just arriving a tad too late, allows an avenue for Phantom, and he snipes that angle, it's a good offense, but CMU punished directly.
I feel bad for JG on that one. He commits early, expecting that his teammate's going to be able to wait out at midfield, so he tries to go for a bit of a wider rotation with the intention to get that midfield boost. As soon as he sees that one's going into his net, he starts trying to pack it back, but just a little bit too late, and unfortunately, it's left EKU down by 2 here with just about 4 minutes left. They're still in this one, Hyperia, but they need to slow them down by far. CMU have opened up the floodgates, and if they aren't shut quickly, this might just be CMU's 3rd win in a row.
What could be that sweep is certainly lurking and certainly in the visors of, oh my word, CMU, but also EKU. They've got it in the back of their heads, and well, maybe it should be right at the front. The first thought is to try and prevent it getting swept. As Phantom takes a far back rotation, let's mix takes over and gets it to the side, but JG still also on that side wall, tries to rip a shot, gets denied as this rolls across the center. They've got plenty of time to clear it away.
I thought that was going to be a goal for EKU, but unfortunately, they're starting to get a little bit hesitant here. They've been punished on the counterattack so many times that they don't want to throw all of their chips into offense here. They're not trying to lay out all of their cards on the table quite yet here, but honestly, it might be time to do so. If you've got any tricks hidden up your sleeve, now is the time to display them. With just about half the game remaining here and a 2-goal deficit for EKU, they've got to find something. It is everything in the kitchen sink mentality, because if they don't throw that out, I'm not so sure they're going to be able to continue the series.
It's always a tough one with half of the game left. Oh my word, these are opportunities that you have to score. It's one of those awkward scenarios where you don't expect to get the opportunity, so it's a very arguable of, hey, you know, just unfortunate, just like this one. They're getting a bit unfortunate on top of not quite being able to break through effectively at times, and it kind of hurts to see. You see the potential of EKU, but the Rocket League Golds are just not allowing them.
Unfortunately so. It's one of these things we continue to say this. EKU at their peak really do look like a team that could be very comparable to CMU, but the unfortunate truth is they just every once in a while have these little misplays that leave them vulnerable. Right there is a great example. JG tried to commit on that one, and so instead of being ready for the follow-up, it was just a double commit that led to an awkward midfield presence here. So EKU not playing bad, but it's just these little things that are separating the two teams. Oh my word, and it's the offensive prowess here we are seeing out of CMU. Phantom gets credited with a goal, but this is all Beaker.
Otis, though, what a save this was. The absolute audacity to clear that one away, and Phantom will roll on through and punish that clear away. Says, how dare you say my teammates shots like that? I'll just convert it, and with 90 seconds left, it's looking very bleak for the EKU side.
I think at this point, that last conversion is going to convert them this game in the series as well. Oda's going to try and get one for the road, but at this point, EKU are battling an uphill battle, which is not only just climbing the hill, that's the problem. It's the landslides, the mudslides, and the random obstacles in between that have made this such a difficult task. EKU played well. I do not want to try and take away from the impressive performance they put out here, but again, the unfortunate truth is that CMU, they saw those little gaps in the back end, and every time that they were shown, they absolutely punished one more time on a quick counterattack, and CMU might have just stuck the dagger in the series.
I think they might already be twisting at this point. CMU, they look so incredibly solid, and It's not that EKU don't. It's just that CMU punish at every single occasion, and the opportunities that EKU had to punish, they kind of got bamboozled by the game, and it got hit off the post, off the crossbar. An unfortunate shot that could have been in, but you don't expect to be taking it, and all of a sudden it is a miss as Otis tries a one last ditch effort. Phantom easily swipes that away to the side. Mix is trying to swap this one away as well. Otis, he's running interference though, and Otis, honestly, he's got heart, and yes, another one of those opportunities. They do finally convert though.
I got a little bit nervous. I saw that shot go off the sidebar there, and yeah, JG, and thought that might be the end of this one. But hey, EKU, they might not necessarily be able to change the outcome of this game, but getting a goal for the road is massive for this team, showing that they still have some fight left in them, and they are not going to back down no matter what. CMU gave them a good run for their money, but I still have faith for EKU in the rest of this season here. Maybe not the result that they were hoping for, but this team's got a long season ahead of them and still plenty of time to try and recover. But for CMU, this also might be even bigger for them. Not only is this another win on the record, it's the first sweep they get on their record this entire season. The only other time they have seen a sweep is when they got swept. So for them to get a win here in a 3-0 fashion, massive for CMU as they go into the back half of this season with a whole lot of confidence. It's a big win for CMU here, High Fury. It's an unfortunate result for EKU, but we say this all the time. At the end of the day, there can only be one winner.
And what a perfect way to end that game as well. Joe, who rips it off the crossbar. Kind of a metaphor for the entire game of EKU, just not quite the entire time. In CMU, they will indeed take their first sweep of the season, and hopefully for them, there's plenty to come. They look strong, but at times vulnerable in the counter-attacking position. Against EKU, it wasn't quite that big of a problem, but they do need to keep that locked up tight.
Yeah, they do need to be very careful here. It does kind of feel like, yes, they got away with a lot of minor mistakes here today, but it also didn't feel like, the minor mistakes were really that big of a problem. They have a very solid rotation, which feels like it lends itself to having a couple of gaps here and there that can be filled in by the teammates. So we're going to have to see soon, excuse me. The U's still getting stuck in my head at this point here. But we're going to have to see in a little bit if that team can try and turn this one around here. EKU still have some time left in the season at 1-5. There's still a chance, but they really have to try and have a couple of good wins in a row here. CMU, though, they don't have to adjust anything here. They are 5-1 at this point, really, really strong in their division, and I would be surprised if we don't end up seeing them for playoffs. But we're going to have to find out. Similarly, we're going to have to find out what the next result is going to be here, because Hyperia, that is only our first, or I guess your second, to the duo's first matchup of the night. We're not quite done here. We're going to move into Challengers Yellow for our next matchup as Southern New Hampshire University take on King's College Red, and this is going to be an interesting one. Both of these teams coming in with the exact same record at 1-3. Meaning they're going to have a lot to play for here. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick little break, get everything set on up. But when we return, even more Rocket League action here at the NECC. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NECC Rocket League week number 6 here. Once again, my name is Bastion the Pass, and joined alongside me for the second time now today, his third appearance, Hypheria. Welcome back, my friend. We just got out of a 3-0 sweep in favor of Central Methodist University, who continue on to go 5-1, but they took a win against a team which hasn't necessarily been feeling on point lately, so not necessarily the most unexpected result. But speaking of unexpected results, I have no idea what's going to happen here because we get into our second matchup of the night, and all of a sudden, it's a 1-3 record for both teams. They both come into this one with pretty much identical issues in the last couple of weeks. Both start off with a loss, but then find themselves a win in their second week, and then take 2 losses in a row to get set back down to 1-3. It is a Southern New Hampshire University versus King's College Red in the Challengers Yellow Division. This is an interesting one, Hypheria. We're pretty far into the season now, so a win at this point is crucial for both of these teams.
And we've got interesting results within those initial series played as well, because SNHU, they played Ottawa Grey 1-3-0. Kings Red played Ottawa Grey, lost in Game 5. On the other side, on the flip side, Kings Red, they played Hood College 1-3-1. SNHU got swept by Hood College. So if you didn't know what to make of this series, it just got a whole lot more confusing, and everything is up in the air, basically. And I feel like it kind of comes down to the day that they're playing on.
I mean, that's for a lot of these teams, though, is if they get that momentum in their favor, they really start to find that confidence. It can carry them a very long way here. So I gotta hope that these two teams come into this one confident and really feel themselves as they play through this best of 5, because all we're looking for is a good back and forth here, Hypheria. And as game number 1 gets underway, that's what I'm gonna hope for.
Absolutely, guard. Pushing that wide, past infield from M3. And trying to get this back into the box. Pugsies has to clear this one away. Follows it up with a usage of a lot of boost and hunts for the bump. Gets the Pumple Cinco, and then the shot by guard. And what a lovely play by Kings Red.
Fantastic way to start off here for Kings Red. And like we said, momentum going to be massive here in this series. So getting yourself a confident start is going to be huge. Really good bump on the back end, and Kings find themselves with a 1-0 advantage. Only 20 seconds into this one. It's a long series ahead of us, Hypheria, but if Kings Red are going to be playing this aggressive the entire time, SNHU are going to need to find a way to slow them down.
3 is going to try and get it around the slide. And finding a way to slow down is indeed what SNHU do need. But Pugsies, he doesn't want to let up whatsoever. Another demo falling through in the net. Pugsies to the sensor. Right, true. It's a bit awkward there, and does get it away as they try and get it on the counter-attack. But Pugsies had a simple clear until Cinco went in the way of it. Oh my word, this is scary right now for Kings Red.
It's scary for both sides. Close calls on each end here, and the question is whether or not the defense is going to be able to hold strong to start this one off. Awkward plays all around, but again, it's game number 1. We're not necessarily too surprised by this. It's going to take a second for the two teams to really start to warm up, but apparently for Gilmore, it's not going to be necessary. Does find the angle just barely deflected by the defense here, but Kings really starting to look very strong here. Kings College, by far, the more aggressive offense, and it's working out for them, to put it simply.
Sometimes just putting yourself out there on the offense is just exactly what works, and M3 bumps Pugsies into the clear away. I guess it's a smart play by Pugsies, and now they go down the other end. Gilmore doesn't find the second touch. Guard still from an angle. He had a similar goal already in this game, but they won't ring through, as I still can't get over that clear away.
It's a little bit of a funny one. I don't exactly think that was what Mario was intending for that. But, hey, you know, live and let die. We move on throughout this game because the clock will continue ticking down here with just underneath it, 2 minutes gone. At this point, Kings College by far look like they are in the lead. SNHU not out of this one by a long shot. They just need to find themselves a really good goal, get them on the board, and find that confidence. Like we said, Hypheria, momentum is massive, especially at this level of Rocket League. If you can find a good enough goal, it can change your entire game plan.
If you can find the rhythm with your team, as Pugsies tries to find it, but just is a bit offbeat. This does land into the edge of the book. That can propel you incredibly far if you manage to connect with each other really well, as Gilmore tries to forge his way through. Let's see whether he can do it solo. Gets it into the edge of the box once again. Pugsies is a bit too high for him. He decides to back over as M3 goes down the other end. Guard still staying close as M3 just forces his entire way through, but the bump not connecting. This might just be an offense that has to go down in the dumps for SNHU.
Unfortunately so here. They're trying their best to find some sort of offense there. They almost find themselves a little bit of a defensive mistake, but luckily enough, they'll survive for now. But yeah, SNHU just need a little bit more offensive pressure overall. Almost ate my words there, as all of a sudden a mistouch on the back end led to a pretty open opportunity for SNHU, but not able to find the back of the net yet, so maybe they can get this slow burn going here. They found King's College with a little bit of an awkward defense. Now it's time to poke and prod until you find a goal, but maybe not going to happen. Pugsy's here doing a great job at interfering, just allowing Kings the time to find some boost and to start up another offense, and exactly what they're going to do. 90 seconds left here in King's College, looking for the dagger here in game number 1.
Guard with a bit of a loose jump in. Now all of a sudden his teammate has to hold on 1v3 in defense. Wide screen to the backboard. Cinco follows it up, but Gilmore boys good pace on M3, tries to take his time, but Guard is breathing down his neck and just decide to go quickly with this play. Wide Shrew still down the line. Guard pops it right back up, looks for the second tap. It's a bit weak, but it will roll on target. M3 thus no problem clearing that away to the side as we enter the final minute. This is going to be an incredibly close ending phase.
This is going to be really, really close. It just kind of feels like SNHU, unfortunately, though, have been playing from behind this entire time. Again, the tone was set here with that early goal. 20 seconds into this one is when King's College scored their first goal. And since then, it's been kind of a drought for both sides. 4 total shots for SNHU, 5 extra for King's College here. But it just kind of feels like both teams are playing a little bit timidly here. They don't necessarily want to try and show their entire hand because they know they've got a very long best-of-5 series ahead of them. So understandable for King's College at this point to play a little bit reserved, but for SNHU, it's time to throw everything that you've got. Throw all your cards on the table and just try and get this equalizer. 22 seconds left, and they need some offense.
They need it, and they need it right now. Wide True thus tries to facilitate that. Doesn't get bumped. Nobody almost snipes the angle. M3 still up in the play. It does land into the edge of the box, but down the line is exactly where Kings Red go. Lands into the box. Gilmore boys, he could finish the game up right here, but in theory, they don't need to score. They just need to get this ball to the ground now. As 1 second, and Kings Red, they do take home game number 1.
Kings, in the narrowest of fashions, are able to take that first game, but maybe now they can get a little bit bigger of a margin going into game number 2. Finding this much confidence after a win, High Furia, is absolutely massive, and considering the fact that they kept SNHU to a complete shutout here, you have to imagine that the team in orange right now is feeling rather confident, but we're going to have to see. So far, a good back and forth between the two squads, but it still kind of feels like SNHU have a little bit more to go if they want to try and get this more of an even series here. I hate to say it because it's really such a simple thing, and it's not easy despite saying how simple it is. They need to start putting shots on target. Way too many shots off target for the team to really find that offensive momentum. They get a couple of them that go on and get the defense frazzled. I think SNHU have a much better shot at this series.
That's the thing always with attacking. You don't necessarily always need to go straight for the net. You could also put it high, make the defenders worried, and have them question themselves. Commit for a play they don't really want to commit to, but they feel forced. They use their boost. They are getting in an awkward position. Their car control gets a bit loose. They don't manage to recover. It's all those kind of tiny things to make your opponent awkward and keep them being awkward. And that's what SNHU have to force it, because Kings Red look a bit too comfortable.
They do look a little bit too comfortable right now. It just kind of feels like they're not being interrupted all that often and can kind of just flow however they desire. But maybe we can see a bit of a switch up here in game number 2 underway. And for King's College, this is a big one. Like we said, both of these teams have had up and down records here. Getting themselves a 3-0 would be massive. It changes their season's outcome drastically, to put it simply, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. First, they're going to have to just take down SNHU here in game number 2. So far, they haven't really been able to do so. A bit of a tentative back and forth here, but SNHU looking like they might have, I was going to say the first offense, but Gilmore boys actually has some time and space in the corner here. Not quite able to get the touch, but Pugsies is there for the follow-up, and I will eat my words. King's College now with the first offense of the game.
Got the first shot on target as well, or at least according to the game. Gilmore boys has an opportunity, but his guard takes it out to the side. That ball is a bit too far forward, and so he can't quite get the aerial starter that he was looking for. Gilmore tries to just outpace M3, but M3 is rapid on that quick. On that ball. Gilmore, all he needs to do is get the block guard. Can he turn in time? No, Cinco takes it out.
Fantastic demo there in King's College. Definitely starting to find that offensive momentum that we were talking about before, but it's getting rather muted, and the shots just in general are not nearly as threatening. SNHU seem rather prepared for everything that King's College are throwing at them right now, and it's an impressive turnaround to put it simply, but it's maybe not quite enough. SNHU now need to just try to find some offense here. They've been locked into their own half for about the last minute and a half, and oh boy, they almost give up a goal in a little bit of an inopportune scenario, but they're not quite out of it yet. A ton of pressure still being applied here, but King's College will retreat for now.
5 shots for King's College and only a 0 for SNHU as Gilmore bumps his own teammate. It's into the boost, but Pugsy surely would have liked to take control of that ball as M3 goes for a shot off a target. It doesn't even count as a shot in game. Pugsy's into the midfield. Gets a good block on that 50 between guard and his opponent. Gilmore goes for the shot, goes low, goes into the corner. White and Cinco both prepare for a Cinco, and that takes it past guard. No boost in attack for Cinco. It's try and improvise something to make the best out of this scenario as Pugsies goes for an early challenge. That pop is going to be in favor of M3, who reads it first, and that backhand is completely open until guard cements it shut.
It's shut for now, but still a little bit of this, I'm not going to say tentative back and forth because it's no longer looking like that, but it's definitely not teams throwing everything at their offense anymore. They are recognizing that this midfield presence is going to be rather important, and if you can transition quickly enough, you might just catch the other team off guard and by surprise. So far, neither team able to do that, though. We are halfway through game number 2, and it is even, and it really goes to show you, that first game, the evenness we felt throughout that entire thing, it's not a fluke. It's exactly how these teams are going to play. They're just about as even as ever, and all it takes is one little separator every time, and that could be the one. King's College with the first goal of game number 2.
Oh my word, SNHU though, they still don't have a shot on target, so even though this feels pretty close, it has been dominated by King's Red, or at least in the attacking end, and controlling the midfield to really suppress the SNHU counter-attack. This might just be one of them. A kickoff goal are always a thing, and they get their first shot, but it's blocked by Gilmore.
Oh, that would have been huge for SNHU, but unfortunately just a little bit off target and contested. True tried to sneak something in, but not quite able to do so, and now instead it goes the other way. Off the backboard, guard by themselves though. Has got to be careful. Oh, but Gilmore, that's a clever demo. Keeps the attack from continuing there. Does not allow them a quick counter, and all of a sudden it's going to be a little bit more of a difficult task for SNHU to get back into this one. I fear we're getting close to golden goal scenario with just about 90 seconds left on the clock. SNHU are going to have to hurry if they want a chance at this one.
Well, they might have to hurry even more. No, Senkok is able to clear it away. And you see here, King's Red, they're taking so much time to just allow you to clear it away. They go for another attack directly afterwards. The triple commit on the side of SNHU. Can they clear it away? True gets a touch as guard goes for the demo, and then the Pugsies almost has a free avenue through. Gilmore still in the corner, and they're doing such a great way of not allowing SNHU to break away, to break out guard. That's a missed jump. And M3, that's a good infield pass, but his teammate not quite connecting on that same level. Gilmore still has him in a free go. Guard just pops it up high, wants to give his team a bit of time to breathe.
I don't really have a lot of time right now, unfortunately. Kings just have to kind of hold on here, and similarly, SNHU need to try and hurry up. Oh, I don't mean like that. Triple commit in the corner is just going to leave you guys a bit disorganized, and Mario would have been able to go up for this had they had some boost, but unfortunately, again, that disorganization really coming back to bite SNHU at this point. They need to work as a trio. They need a solid rotation here, and they need a goal as well. Oh, my word. I thought the Kings were going to find one off the ceiling touch there, but no such luck. A good save in front of the net, but they might need to make another one. Guard pressing the issue here, and there should be a follow-up. Pugsies indeed does come through here and snipes that one into the back of the net. And I fear, unfortunately, I think that SNHU, they want a chance at this series. They're going to have to do it in a reverse sweep.
And this game has been buried. King's Red with this goal. I mean, 14 seconds. Theoretically, it's still possible, but SNHU with only having one shot in the entire game. It's hard to imagine that all of a sudden they'll start popping off and getting goals left, right, and center. And indeed, this opening phase already heavily in the favor of King's Red, or at least enough in their favor that it does not lead to even a single goal. They get away with one shot in the entire game. SNHU, something has to change.
They've got to try and change this offense and defense both. It just feels like the defense right now is a little bit too chaotic, and it doesn't lend them into a really good chance on offense here. So they're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to have to agree with you, High Fury, at this point. They need to go back to the drawing board and just give themselves a little bit better of a chance to just, I would say, control this game here. The pace of play really feels like it's entirely in favor of King's College here, and SNHU haven't really been able to dictate that pace of play throughout this entire series.
Yeah, SNHU, they're kind of having to react to whatever Kings is doing, and you never want to have a reactive play style. Sometimes it works, but you need an incredibly strong counterattack for it to work properly. As Kings Red, they are suppressing that so well, really keeping you locked into your own half, where, well, you best make it an enjoyable time, because they've been there for an incredibly long amount of time. I'll reiterate, only one shot, and that was directly off of kickoff for SNHU. So they need to try and break out more, and the way they can do that is have a man upfield or something of the sorts.
Yeah, that's the big thing there. He's trying to spread them out a little bit more and trying to use the length of the pitch a little bit more to their advantage. Again, we saw that from SNHU on the back half there, was them getting clumped up into one corner, and then that kind of just led to a downward spiral where eventually Pugsy slotted in that shot. And that's kind of the issue we're seeing right now, is it just kind of feels like there's this one little bit of misplay on the back end, and it becomes the catalyst to just a downfall for SNHU. They need to avoid that at all costs. I think this team is very capable. They are very strong and have shown that at their peak moments, they can absolutely handle King's College. But here in Game 3, it's time for them to show it. They are backs against the wall here, Hypera. If SNHU do not reverse sweep, that is the end of their series.
Yeah, exactly. They are staring down the barrel every single time, and oh my word, that was an incredibly close one as well. Almost a bullet making it through, but guard not quite connected with the second tap. Pugsy's still to the center. Gilmore lurking. Realize that is better not to go in for that one. As guard turns in, Gilmore going to go down the other end. No pass will be coming through. Good 50 out of Gilmore to resume control directly afterwards. It's an upper pass, and, well, not much of a pass whatsoever, as he just has to back off.
Back off for now here, but unfortunately SNHU not allowing Kings to back off on that one there. I would have loved a little bit of a reprieve, but it's not going to happen here, and SNHU is trying to break out of their half. They will find, I think, an opportunity, but no, Mario actually kind of tricked there. Thought that the defense wasn't going to be able to do much, and all of a sudden they got a booming clear that has now led to another offense for Kings College. But big difference right now, High Fury. We talked about this before. Early goals for Kings have set the tone so far in this series, and the fact that we're through the first minute without a goal, big upside here for SNHU.
Absolutely. Still yet to ring a shot through, though, and I think that's the most important part of that. Sure, they might be able to hold on to defense, but that's not necessarily been their trouble. Their trouble has been at the attacking end, where they just can't quite break through. His guard, let's see what he does here. Pops to the center. Guard, just look for a bump. Oh my word, this is, oh my. I said defense not necessarily their trouble, but that did not look healthy.
That did not necessarily look as controlled as I would have expected. Again, it's just the midfield presence that we've been looking for some improvement, but maybe they need to be a little bit more careful on the line. An opportunity like that arrives for King again. I'm pretty sure they're not going to miss it. So 2 minutes into this game, so far it's a tentative back and forth. Neither team able to score here, and honestly, this is kind of what SNHU need right now. They don't necessarily need to be in favor. They, oh my word, also need to not get faked out. Oh, Mario, though, with a recovery out of nowhere, and SNHU will stay in this one for now.
That hurts for Kings Red. They faked too, or Gilmore faked too, and just was not quite able to pull it through, as Mario was able to go for a long distance short guard. Crept up incredibly close, even though he knew the shot was coming through. A bit outrageous. Cinco going to try an outrageous shot as well. Guard down the left flank. He goes into the corner. Is the pop. Mario to clear it away. Pugsy's pass into Gilmore, but Gilmore can't reach it.
Not quite able to see something really develop here in this game so far. Both teams playing, I would say, a lot more tentatively than we even saw in game number 1. And I feel like that's evident by the score line we're seeing here. Only 2 players in this entire lobby currently have over 100 points, and it just kind of feels like both teams are going for booming clears that don't really lead too much. No one wants to make that aggressive first move because they know it's going to expose them on defense, and considering how lethal both teams have gotten with this pressure on offense, they don't want to even allow that opportunity to arrive. And uh-oh, here's an opportunity! Finally, Wytru will find the lead for SNHU. Excuse me, I was going to say couldn't have come at a better time, but getting choked up, it's just such a nice goal, Hyperia.
Well, you're getting choked up. Let's hope SNHU do not get that choke here as well. They need to try and get something on the board. Well, they would prefer to get another one on the board rather. They will be hunting for another one on the side of King's Red. They don't want to let this drop that easily, and they still have plenty of time to do so. Pugsy's clearing it away. Now 2v1 situation. Pugsy has all the opportunities, and he does convert.
It's a bit unfortunate. SNHU really hoping to take this game and completely turn around this momentum in the series, but instead they're going to have to try and either battle it out in overtime or find one more goal in the next 90 seconds here in regulation. I mean, we said this before, I'll say it again. It is backs against the wall here for SNHU. They don't look out of the series by any stretch of the imagination, but they lose this game, unfortunately. That is the end of it.
Unfortunately, that might just happen. This lands into the edge of the box, right in front of the line as well. Guard still to the center. Gilmore having a completely free ball, an Atlantic Ocean of space to work with, and tries to capitalize upon it as best as he can. 50 into the center. Cinco has to do some work, and he does indeed pop it off to his own backboard. That's enough for now, but Guardy will go off the ceiling. White with an early challenge, shuts down. It lands into the hands of Gilmore. Oh my word, a double miss coming through. Mario pops it up, buys a little bit of time, but will it be enough since he's still advancing, passing it off to Gilmore, who looked for the boost. Pugsy's turning in, that's a shot, but it's weak.
White with a fantastic clear out as well. It was not just a save, it was a clear to the other end. It has really taken away a lot of that pressure that Kings were starting to build. It's going to give them a good opportunity now, but no one wants to challenge out at midfield. We talked about it, a tentative back and forth, but again, now is not the time to get tentative. SNHU, you need to try and prevent. Oh my word, this goal at any cost. Maybe you can find a goal instead into the back of the net, and with 25 seconds left, SNHU will take the lead.
Guard in this position, I think it might have just been best to let that ball roll, get it on top of your car and clear it out to the left side. That was completely clear of danger. But you need to make a decision. Sometimes in that decision-making process, there's panic involved. And there is panic on the entire side of King's Red now. They have to try and make a comeback. 1-0 in 20 seconds. It might just be possible with Guard popping it up like that. Cinco challenging early. Gilmore getting taken out completely, and not on a day. No, he gets taken out to the graveyard. He has to get his car fixed in the garage real quick. Gilmore down the side. Guard pops it center. Pugsy's decent pass into Gilmore, but nobody's there in the center, and Pugsy's getting bumped up. And SNHU win game number 3.
And there it is, SNHU finally getting their first goal, or not first goal, their first game on the board here. They had gotten a couple of goals here and there, but SNHU by far having the best game we've seen from them. And honestly, it's surprising how they did it as well, High Furia. I'll be honest, this is not what I expected. We kept talking about how they needed more shots and to just get more offensive pressure. Instead, they went, how about we take less shots and just up our conversion? 3 total shots throughout this game, but 2 for 3. That's a fantastic scoreline.
And this is exactly where that does start working out, where you sit back, but you convert at an incredibly efficient rate. That's exactly what you need to do, and that's exactly what they've adapted to. SNHU, now the key is to hold on to that, to try and fend off any attack, and swat it off to the side, and then directly go on the counter to really try and make Kings Red a worry. But Kings Red, they have, I don't want to say unforced mistakes, but some of their mistakes or some of the goals that they've got conceded could have been prevented.
It does kind of feel like there's still that little bit of edge that has to be shown. One of these two teams has got to start to take the edge here. Okay, sorry. A little bit confused. I thought that one was just going to dribble on in there. Luckily enough, I can recollect myself and go back to the point. But yeah, it just kind of feels like both teams are still at this stalemate. Both teams are rather even here, and neither one of them has really found that edge to give them the advantage. King's College obviously took the first 2 games, but they never did so by a dominant margin to where it felt like they were at the advantage here. And SNHU in their last game, yes, they took the win as well, but it also didn't feel like it was at a full advantage. So I'm waiting for that momentum shift, Hypera. When does one of these two teams really start to control this game?
Well, let's see what Guard can do. He pops it past one. Mario tries to rotate back. Guard, instead of going for the redirect, tries to go for the bump and has to back off into defense. White that's a nice and pacey. And Cinco tries to go for the shot. White hunt for the demo, but it's Guard on the clear away. Guard go to the center. Pugsy's tries to extend this one into the corner. Uses all his boost to get a second tap of that bounce. Not quite in his favor. And he tries to rotate back. Gilmore for the second tap. Gets it off to the center. But Cinco, great pace on that play. Guard tries to clear it away. M3. simple clear out into the corner, and that is danger goal.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of the problem for both of these teams and why they're not quite able to develop these offenses as easily as before. These booming clears don't really seem to be feeding out to either one of the teams. It's just kind of to buy space and then, see if they can maybe start something together. I want to see someone move out of their half a little bit more methodically, carry it on their car, try and go for an air dribble, something to separate the teams, because these booming clears don't really seem to be developing into much. And at this point, it's really back to that stalemate of where one random mistake on defense is all that's going to do to separate these two teams.
One mistake, and oh my word, that isn't even a mistake, but it is still a dangerous situation. Double commit coming through as well. And White-True goes for the shot. Gilmore out to the side. White-True up to the skies. Not enough boost to try and follow that one up himself. Waits for reinforcements. Gets it in the form of Mario. Mario's looking for the block, but he doesn't quite find it. Clear away did it happen. Cinco is able to catch it in the center. It's a shot coming through from White-True, but Gilmore honestly out to the side. And this is a tantalizingly close game once again, and this deadlock needs to be broken, but will it be now? No, Gilmore clears it away.
This is something we haven't seen from SNHU in quite some time, though. High Furia, offensive pressure and an extended offensive pressure. They have 5 shots within the first half here, and it's a very different offense for this team all around. A little bit of a scare there, but maybe it's going to work out as a fake shot.
Oh, no.
Not going to go on target. Double commit in front of the net, and King's College are going to walk away unscathed. And don't tell me they get a goal on the other end because of it. No such luck. Cinco will make the save, but I hate to say it, High Furia, that was probably the best chance we've seen from SNHU this whole game.
Absolutely, and the fact that they have to go right back to defending just hurts. That is incredibly unfortunate. And you bump your own teammate out of a clear shooting position. You feel silly when you do that, but you have to deal with it. Guard is going for a long distance shot. Might just bounce all in. They've gone incredibly close, and well, they get favored by the woodworks there. White-True tries to go on the counter-attack with a little boost. It might just have to be Mario who does all the work. Gilmore going into the counter, into the opposing corner. He tries to get into a treacherous position for the opposition. Gilmore rotating all the way back, gives Mario space to close this gap, and we enter the final 90 seconds, and it's still a deadlock.
I can't believe how close this one has been. Again, neither team really able to find that edge over the other here, and it's just been so incredibly close. I have no idea what's going to separate these two teams. Usually there's 2 ways that this one ends, and if you've heard the NECC cast before, you know exactly what I'm about to say. It's a defensive error or a shot that just blows our minds. There are no in-betweens here. When you've got 2 teams this close, something's going to have to give, and that's either the offense or the defense. So let's see what it is. With a minute remaining, it could be the Kings defense here as they are locked into their half and are looking a little bit troublesome. They just can't find a good clear. Double commitment there. Posty's actually cutting off Gilmore, boys, but maybe for a reason. Open net, but no one takes the shot. It goes off target, and then there is no follow-up. Kings College, you cannot let opportunities like that fall to the wayside.
And Guard was still lurking in the corner, which made Gilmore think a bit too much about his own commitment. He decides not to go in. Always want to keep it clear on the back half, but sometimes as third man you gotta go in. Not too sure whether this was one of such situations, but Gilmore might not matter as it goes to the backboard, and Gilmore's still there to try and finish it up, and White-True up the line and goes in Guard. In the defense, 10 seconds on the clock. Will this end in regulation? Guard has the game in his hands, gets it past one, but no boost to try and take it past another. Still gets in control though. 50 almost going into towards the center. Pugsy's missing the touch, and that's sure thing that Gilmore boys' initial thought is to try and get it to the crowd. He kept it up. Let's see what Guard does. It was Pugsy's trying to keep it up, but we have overtime.
Here we go, overtime, game number 4, and this one by far more important for SNHU than it is for Kings here. They need to win this to just keep the series alive, and maybe they can do that right here. Got a little bit of an awkward defense to start this one off, but no one there for the pass out at midfield. White-True retreated a little bit too far back. Now Kings with a chance to try and get some offensive pressure. Mario going to interrupt it, and Cinco will have the follow-up touch, but Guard out at midfield. Should at least get a 50. Not quite able to do so. Dusted in the air, but uh-oh, that's a triple commitment. Guard just needs to put a shot on target, but didn't have the boost to do so. They will keep the offense together, though, High Fury, and I can see your face. I'm feeling the same way, my friend. This is absolute chaos.
Well, instead, if Guard just went for the bump on Mario, that would have been enough. It was a roller on target. It was slow, sure, but you did not need to extend it. Guard didn't really have the boost to do so, but it might not all matter as Guard still puts a shot on Mario. This time comes to the clearance of it. White-True flies past it. Garden didn't expect any of that, so Gilmore is the one who goes in for it. Pugsy still lurking underneath, waits for a mistake to happen, but Cinco clears it away, and there's the mistake. Pugsy gets a free ball, but it's White who clears it away deep into the opposing half. Guard off his own backboard. It's a good boomer. Nobody there to try and follow it up to Mario. We'll try and chase this one down. Pugsy's doesn't care about you faking it out. Guard, what?
I cannot believe that. What a way to finish off a series. Pugsy set this one up, but with 2 defenders there, you would, never expect that to make it in. Team bump, that explains a little bit. And King's College, well, they'll be happy with the result nonetheless. They take a 3-1 victory here, and it's a little bit of a heartbreaking end for SNHU, but they gave a heck of an effort here today, Hyperia.
Absolutely, and what a series that was, and incredibly close. Once again, they came in with the same exact record. Weirdest record against teams that they both have played as well, losing to one and then with the other winning against them. It all doesn't make sense, but Kings Red, they can call themselves the victor of this series.
Absolutely can, and they deserve to do that as well. A very impressive performance from the team, especially considering the fact, we talked about it, the momentum really felt like it wasn't favoring either one of the teams. So when you're in that stalemate scenario, you really have got to pull out the stops and find those adjustments to get that little bit of an edge over your opponents. Even if that edge is just playing consistently enough until eventually a mistake arrives and you can capitalize upon it, that is an edge in itself. So congratulations to Kings College Red there. A fantastic performance from them. They will move on to 2-3, getting themselves one game closer to that even record. But I have potential for this team here, Hyperia. I see Kings Red possibly getting into the playoffs in the future here. If they can play at their peak like we saw in the last couple of games there are not a lot of teams I think that can take them down here in this Challengers Yellow Division.
Absolutely. Playing at your peak, though, is incredibly difficult to reach, and sometimes you get there and you don't really know how. You start thinking back on the day. Did I have a good day? No, not necessarily. It was decent, but not necessarily something that propels me this far. You start thinking about all the factors, and sometimes it's just plain luck on how you play on the day. Sometimes you're just really feeling it, and that's the tough thing, the consistency, and that's something you need to look for. And I think every single Rocket League player is in the internal search of consistency.
It's something that every player struggles with, from bronze all the way up to professional. At a certain point, consistency is what separates team, and unfortunately for SNHU here, as much as the consistency was not bad in that series, just that little bit of a break was enough for Kings Red to take the lead and to take the win overall. So congratulations to King College Red. You move on to 2-3, like we said. SNHU will move on to 1-4, but they still have time left in the season to try and make a recovery, and well, we're going to have to find out if they do that, as well as we're going to have to find out what happens through the rest of the day here. We are done with our first 4 matches of the day, but we are not done overall. We've still got plenty more Rocket League to go. And Hyperia, before we move into that next one, I want to give a shout out to you as well. If you guys didn't know in the audience, it is Hyperia's birthday today, so I'm not going to sing him happy birthday on stream, but what I'm hoping you guys can do is, as we head on out of here, I better see the chat get flooded with happy birthday Hyperia. Give the man all the love that he deserves, because, well, he absolutely deserves it. So we're going to head on out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here, but we've got more Rocket League on the way. A happy birthday to Hyperia, and we will see you guys in Game 5 in just a couple of moments.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC. It's going to be another phenomenal match. You just had a banger duo before you cast in the game, and now you got another one. The Hype Cast has made its return after a, 3-month hiatus? Novanta, I feel like it's just been forever since we've casted in a booth together.
Way too long, but if there's any match I'll put us together, it'll be this one. Challengers White Action, University of Alabama Black against East Carolina Purple. And this one here, like you said, is going to be another banger.
It really is. I mean, you talk about teams that are close. We're always looking for that close series, and we're always rooting for the storyline as well. These two teams have completely flipped records. East Carolina are coming in as the better record, 3-2 in their series, whereas University of Alabama Black, they're coming in with a 2-3. So they're not on the positive win percentage side just yet, but they're looking to make that change and push towards that tied record series at 3-3. Let's just see if they can do it.
Says a lot that so late in the season that only one series separates these two squads. I know each and every single one of these players on the pitch today are looking to be a hero to move the needle.
I've already loved what we've seen off the defense, jumping up for that ball and just scraping it across the crossbar to clear it away, really starting to build that fortress and that foundation first and early on in the game. That's going to do a lot of great things for the defense and the morale. When you're already making plays like that, you're starting to feel yourself. And game one has always been that feeling out process as Fire put one on net. Just unfortunately not going to make it there at the moment. Solution thought about doing it again. Fire can't get there, and it's back over to the Bama side.
So many shots on goal, got 2 there, counted officially, and I think that says a lot about what they're trying to do here, making sure you score early and often to make sure you put the thing in your favor. Look, Grant, only a minute has elapsed, and we've seen so many attempts on goal here. You wonder if defense will be the key to victory for either one of these sides.
You certainly do. I mean, Bama, they have a little bit of shaky offensive rotations, or at least when they're trying to transition to offense, whereas East Carolina, they look a little bit more poised and comfortable with what they're doing, and it is going to be about those defenses and how quickly they can break out and create those counterattack solution. Looking to create that first offense again for Alabama. It's been a while. It's High Venom coming in from the side, puts one across and caught by the defense. Sent out, has a connection up front. Solution looking to beat. Nobody making contact. Fire missing the ball. That's detrimental, but look how far behind ECU was. They were lagging behind that attack when they really could have used it to push themselves forward. They're standing back so far on defense, and it's going to cost them.
Here's the deal. The first minute, they were kind of snake bit of how many times they were a shot on goal being swatted away. You say, okay, we're going to hunker down and wait for the counterattack, but a counterattack didn't come. What happened was a bomb over the defense, and that was the difference. 1-0 favoring Bama in the blue.
I think Alabama has always been that team that's going to come out with hot rolling offense, and you see it off of the kickoff. This is just going to be a lucky one they take back to the net.
Look, man, kickoff goals are a nature of the game, but this should not have happened. So much space unoccupied by that East Carolina defense, and just like that, the scoreline has doubled.
The scoreline has indeed doubled. We're looking at an Alabama roster that just knows how to play that offense. And like I was saying early on, I can't remember which player it was. I believe it was Solution who made that early save that I was talking about when they're building up their defense and making sure that they have that comfortability early on in the game. I think that's what's really favoring Alabama and allowing them to make some of these early pushes and these quick attacks onto the offense. They're taking a lot of risks, and it's something you always want to see in the game of Rocket League.
Well, you know it is. The victor goes with spoils, and even though it seems like almost a 2v3 solution here, the blitz gets one up there for East Carolina. I was about to say they're playing a person down. It looked like there was some issue there with Spooky's console or controller right there. There's a fire alarm, excuse me, that was going off there. That's why they're away AFK. But despite that, a goal goes on the side of East Carolina. The scoreline has been cut in half, 2-1.
If my memory serves me correctly, I believe we will just have to play on, but hopefully Spooky is doing fine. Fire slots looking to really make Fire hurt today for them, unfortunately, but the teammates are holding down the fortress in the background. Jake trying to get their hands on it, does so. Fire puts one across, actually ping-ponging off of multiple defending cars. Blitz and Jake all alone to defend this net. Fire puts another on. Blitz just so calm, and Spooky's back in the game. It looks like they are good. Not sure what happened, but they're going to have to regroup because it's back to a 3-person rotation.
Well, a cat knock there for University of Alabama, seeing an opportunity there, a ball floating aimlessly around net. Why not crowd around it? But, you know, you got to wonder, that may be kind of dangerous having too many people up forward because you don't want to get too greedy. You have the lead. Make sure you don't compromise your positioning or else you leave yourself an easy goal to concede.
I love Jake's interception there as Blitz coming across the sky. Couldn't beat Fire. Spooky and Jake on a double commit. That could be dangerous if they put the angle on. It's beautiful from Fire slots.
Yeah, conjuring the inevitable there. The shot was put down there by JKE, and then, well, Fire slots came from all over the right side, flanked and book sharp past the net. 3-1, favoring Alabama. They're in control.
They are more than in control of this game. They've been awesome on the offense, awesome on the defense, and I just don't see them breaking their stride anytime soon. It's all up to East Carolina to do some work on the offense because it's been a while since they've been there. Look at Alabama still pressing into their territory. Solution catching it back on the corner. Jake coming around. This is the first time ECU have been on offense in a long time, but it doesn't last long. Fire forcing out a touch. Spooky, one more, has to beat. It's gonna go go off the post, and they double it in to get us back within one.
What a very brazen attempt on goal. The first time I thought it was going to be a lost cause, but being able to be your own insurance policy to make sure the ball wasn't lost, it says a lot about the control there. 3-2 is the scoreline. You're right. Grant, we're inside the last 90 seconds, inside the witching hour. I wonder if this Alabama squad can maintain their lead.
I'm pretty sure that they've got what it takes, but it is about that endurance, that consistency, and as well as that team morale. It's so important. Here comes Blitz, throwing one up, has a flip reset they're looking for. Fire, make sure it doesn't happen. Jake meeting Solution, up to the ceiling and down. No bump, that could have opened up the net easily, but Blitz had nothing on it. Hive trying to steer it around, Spooky instead. Fire got a miss. That was almost huge, and it's out for Alabama. Back to the offense, pushing ECU back in their own territory. A weak clear from Jake, forfeits it up to Fire. Spooky off the backboard, connecting with Blitz, firing across now. Solution taking it, ran into Hive off the spawn. Blitz taking advantage of this. Jake needs to put the shot on target, and they do. Top shelf to tie the game.
It's one of the situations where I was clutching my pearls if I had them. It was only a matter of time to see someone scored, but what I didn't see was this. Within 30 seconds of this one, just about to say University of Alabama had this match in their hands, but now it's tied there, Grant. Silver goal situation in the last dying moments of game one.
Well, I guess Alabama has let off the gas maybe a tiny bit, starting to overcommit some resources, but helping out with that is East Carolina getting back up into the face of their opponent when they need to. Blitz putting one across the length of the field. Hive finding Fire on the side. Blitz wanted to get there and they couldn't. Double tap opportunity. Jake, difficult read. They got a touch on it. 10 seconds to waste now to force that overtime, and it would certainly favor East Carolina getting out of this pressure, but Jake doesn't need to touch that. It was over anyways. Hive can't find it, and here comes OT. Such a dangerous and nerve-wracking position to be in.
Well, you see that even though East Carolina had the disadvantage of having one of their players AFK for about a minute of game time, being able to get themselves in an overtime situation is kind of a mental edge. Let's see if they can convert that to a goal.
Oh my goodness, they can't save it. Alabama's going to be the one. After 3 unanswered goals, they're finally able to steer things back around, and who better than Solution, who really picked up the momentum at the beginning. That highlight player from the very start on the defense. It was a small little thing, but Alabama had that momentum to carry them through to the very end.
Yeah, I mean, Jay had that last effort there, but this wasn't enough, and we have one game advantage in Bama. It's the best of 5 series. This means ECU does have some opportunity to gain some ground, but as it stands right now, Bama looks like to be the stronger side on the pitch right currently.
And I think they will be maintaining this one unless East Carolina are able to do what they did in the second half of the game. In the first half, they need to get back up in the face. It was something that was really benefiting them when they found it. They had 3 goals down, and then they came back with those 3 goals. They put 3 consecutively onto Alabama, none of which were answered, and that overtime was supposed to favor them, but I'm not really sure what happened. It just all happened too quickly for East Carolina to even react, but they do have what it takes to take down this Alabama squad, and they certainly would love to keep their positive winning alive. With a fresh clock of Rocket League to go, we have game 2.
Well, I love so much about the Challengers division so far. All these teams have so much parity. Look, we said it before at the top of the game. Really, one series separates them as far as the record is concerned. So everyone has an opportunity, and everyone has a chance there to get themselves a victory. And I can tell which team wants it more. Currently, it's Alabama. Not to say ECU is any slouches here. 20 seconds elapsed. I'm sure that ECU has something up their sleeves.
Alabama pushing out of their own half, and they're getting met by every single shot they take in the air. Now one finally escaping to the backside, pushing back the opposition into their own half. Hive looked for something cheeky and wasn't able to find it. Taking to the air now. Bama still pushing on that pressure. Solution has another and dunked. Midfield, Hive keeping that going. Jake from the backboard. Long distance clear. Fire. Difficult touch. It's up to their ceiling. That's going to prevent some offense from coming back. Decent touch from Jake as well. Hive pushing across and Blitz down. Jake needs this desperately. Found the connection to Blitz.
Well, here's the situation here. You saw there was one rotation there waiting for a pass, but that last pass there from the orange squad from the Blitz from Jake was something that's upper 90. No one had any chance of getting that away, and the score line once again is broken. This time in favor of East Carolina. They score first here.
And this is going to be something that favors them for the rest of the series. We've talked about momentum. Alabama started it off early with very minimal plays, looking to save that. Jake saved their own net. It's Blitz taking it back. Fire from the backboard. Solution catching and placing back in the center. Hive missing their opportunity. Fire not missing theirs. Backboard, still nobody home. Running low on boost as Alabama retreating. Spooky waiting out this touch from Hive that never came. Back to midfield. Fire puts it up. Here comes a shot. No one's around. Jake needed to be there. Instead, waiting back for boost. Solution has an opportunity of their own, all because of it. Looking for a bump. Got it on Spooky and put it across and just wasn't able to break through that last defender.
Can't knock there for trying. Being able to pop the ball up and go for the bump there is very smart, but just the fact you got your own way, and that was not a score across the net. Look, for a second there, we saw the ball go in different directions, and both teams were trying to scramble, try to reset their defensive and or offensive formations. You don't get opportunities like that to score often, but when you do, you got to make that a possibility.
Alabama don't look to have been feeling good for a while. Blitz looking to make themselves look good, and it's Jake who wasn't able to finish out that offensive opportunity. Spooky certainly tries, has a bit of an exposed net. Jake throwing it off the roof of a car, and Fire running downfield, racing, grass tearing behind them. Spooky waiting for Blitz here. Hive puts it back up. Spooky's patience paying off, putting it back across in Solution. One more time, it's awkward, and back to midfield. Alabama looking for anything that they can get their hands on.
Well, look, about 2 minutes left to go in this one, and only one goal of score, which is kind of a different script compared to the first game of having 7 goals scored between these two franchises. And, well, I got to say, it comes down to defensive prowess. We have so many opportunities on net that were swatted away at the last possible effort. It looks like these teams have figured each other out in their offensive attacks, and their defense have adjusted accordingly.
Oh my
Or not.
goodness. I was just about to say Caster's Curse perhaps, but this is a boomer to the upper 90. Fire, what a beauty. Or sorry, not the upper 90. It looked like it from my angle, but that's just fly cam for you. Under 2 minutes to go, equalized game, and now it's about, can Bama finish this out? Can they continue to feel good? Right now, Solution kind of lacking on their touches, but lots of space and respect being given to it by East Carolina. Fire launching one downfield. Blitz touching down. That's dangerous. Right in the hands of Hive, but they can't convert. Fire can't either. And Solution has to make up for it all on their own. Full tank of boost. One flip back for nobody home because it's a beat from Spooky instead. And the pressure still continuing for Bama. Big doink.
Oh, no.
That's midfield.
Oh, no.
Fire slots is there, and Bama steals back the lead.
I knew as soon as Fire Slots hit that corner, there was pretty much that's the right Venom with the redirect off the wall in between defenses. I mean, look, that was a glorious team play. Not sure if it's practice on the training pitch, but it was effective. 2-1 favoring Alabama.
Certainly a great display of mechanics from this Alabama squad. Solution wants another display though, and they can't quite get there. Fire waiting back, so much space to work with. Hive stole it away. Calculated play off the backboard. The bump was happening, but nobody can get there. The ghost touch threw me for a loop. Must have thrown Bama for a loop as well. Holding on desperately to a 1-goal lead. That's a dangerous touch back to their own net. And Fire Slots steering away. No doink there. East Carolina pushing back again. Solution off the ceiling. Jake can't reach it, baiting out the touches, has to let their teammate come through. It's slow, and it's very difficult to push this off the sidewall, but they're making do with what they got. Solution avoiding a bump from Blitz. Hive connecting, throwing up front, and Jake to take over. Not enough boost to make work of that. It's Fire sending it down, and Hive sending it long. Blitz is up, one more touch, and this is great defensive positioning for East Carolina, as Alabama are really just throwing the ball at the wall, not necessarily towards the net or towards anybody, towards something, and it just gets met by East Carolina every time.
Yeah, when you're down by 1 goal, there's kind of this kind of human nature to want to be a hero, to boom it far down, and usually it ends up being to your detriment. You want to go with a small ball, you want to be able to beat your defenders and give yourself an open shooting net. If you keep doing that, it will always give an advantage to those in the lead, and it looks like Alabama may steal this one in game 2.
It does appear that way. ECU still with some time left on the clock. Just need to fight out of their half. They've got to hurry, though, and not let this ball touch the ground. Blitz jumped early. Jake keeping it up. Nobody's going to be there, and Alabama secure it, tying the series 1-1.
Well, we got two Alabama victories in two different flavors. The first one was an offensive hit parade. This one was a little more defensive minded. But either way, Alabama found a way to get on top again, backed by the effort of Solution, just being an absolute terror in the mid pitch, stopping those offensive runs from ECU. So far, it's been the key to their victory.
And I really liked the offense and defensive work. Both defenses were pretty even across the board. 3 saves each and a lot of clears. Really nice meeting of the ball. But Alabama did come away with 9 shots, and I don't think ECU made 5 that game. So a very difficult game for ECU on the offense, but that's kind of been the trend. Alabama has been able to come out on top, and I don't think the series is actually tied 1 apiece. I believe it is 2-0, and I
Right.
just get my brain confused all the time. But that's just
Yeah.
how it works. Alabama is up 2-0, and this is the thing, as ECU has had these good looks of offense, but their defense has struggled just a little bit more than Alabama. Even though they're meeting them where they are, I would like to see the defense tightened up just a bit more, because Alabama is putting on more shots. And then if we can see some more ECU offense, that would be great as well. But the game has reset the clock, and we're into game 3.
Too many times you see a team at series point, much like how Alabama was, putting their foot off the gas in game 3, allowing their opponents to get one. Let's see if Alabama says, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that script at all. Let's see if they close us out 3 games in a straight.
I think the reason my brain goes to a 1-1 series scoreline is because it really did feel like East Carolina had that first game and perhaps even the second, but both these games have been 1-goal games, and now we are 2 apart in the series, and Spooky's got a free opportunity here. Just a very difficult angle to read. They almost had it, could have been secured, but it is, again, very difficult. Blitz, no boost, as Jake taking to the corner. Solution carrying on their own. Everybody low on boost today, it seems. Maybe the postman can come deliver some, but they don't need to, because it's Solution delivering up a nice package to Fire Slots.
Well, sometimes if the front door is locked, how about trying the back door? Look at this. Lucha with a tie hat pop, and then Fire Slots goes in the back corner. It's the far post. You know what? It's not the cleanest goal. It's not going to be clipped at all, but it was effective. 1-0 again. Bama's in the lead.
Alabama have been looking pretty good, but as I say it, Spooky's gonna capitalize on one single mishap on the defensive end.
Well, you know what? One of the cool things about taking a goal and conceding it is getting that goal back. And even though it's 1-1, you got to look at it as it being another tie game, another lease on life, especially for East Carolina. The last thing they want to do is be swept in this series.
That would certainly be a tough way to go out. Alabama just need another goal, and they are certainly capable of doing so. Dagger from the right side, carrying, flicking away up high, got it over Fire. Is anybody home? Yes, they are. Jake beating everybody who tried to leap for it and were unsuccessful.
Oh, the disrespect. Look at the single car play, top backboard, 3 blue cars, not one of them got a hand or a fender on it. I think for the first time this series, we have a lead favoring East Carolina.
It does appear that way, although maybe they were able to get some, but Alabama's dominance has really just tricked our brains into thinking that they're always on top and always in the lead as they look to prove here. Fire, great retrieval off the pass. Hive looking for the free refund. Now need a rebound, and Solution instead tries to back off. 3:30 to go. Fire trying their second time. Got it 5, demoed for their efforts. Jake from the back ball. Leaping out, Solution, corner, looking for it. Dagger missed. Blitz is there. Connection up front. No, the pass intercepted by Hive. They fire a shot. It's on target.
Oh,
How do
man.
they save it? The double off the post from
man.
the inside. It's just not enough, and it's tragic as Fire puts in a second.
Capital U for unfortunate. That was supposed to be clear, but it went the wrong direction, and Jake tried and bungled it and got it cleared away, but it was loose. And, well, we're looking at another tie, this time in game 3, 2-all.
2-all, and it's just tighter and tenser than before. Double commit on the defensive end, leaving ECU exposed. No one quite able to reach there. It would have been a very risky shot to go for. Fire retrieving the pass off the Solution. Opting for those passes is going to be something very important to how they dismantle this defense. Dagger throwing sidewall. Jake far away to reach it. Solution mini touch. Fire in the back, setting themselves up off the backboard, and Dagger throwing it to the side. Now another one midfield, dangerous. Double commit from Bama. Now needing to retreat. The recovery time looking so good, but ECU just aren't able to make these touches when they need to, and that's really preventing a lot of offensive production, leaving them stuck in their own half a lot of the time. Dagger, last man back, Solution, one shot, and it's on. Alabama stealing it back once again.
This one here was a concerted attack. All the cards dropped back for a second then. I wonder what was Alabama doing, giving their opponent so much space. They were looking for the mistake because I think they feel like Carolina was frazzled, and frazzled they were, picking it, and it was easy for them. 3-2 in favor of Bama.
Certainly amazing display of Alabama's toughness. I touched on it just a little bit at the front, how important this team morale is going to be. Even when you get scored on, you still know that there's time left on the clock and that anything is possible, especially in the game of Rocket League. Fire getting taken out of the equation. Solution looking for that answer. Blocked down, looking to flick back, unable to. Trying to get out of the mix now as Fire coming across, unable to convert. Solution pre-jumping this one, low on boost, not the best move perhaps, but enough to force Blitz out of a touch. Fire putting way across, and Venom needing to wait back for this one. This is a huge defensive mistake. It's right up for Fire's slot. Panic will result in a goal almost every single time.
Look, goals and dropping goals are part of the game, but this right here was a mental error. That was textbook. It was the wrong kind of clear, the wrong direction, and a team like Alabama will make you pay for it. 4-2, a minute 43 to go.
Oh, and now it just makes you wonder, what do you gotta do? You have to stay positive, that's for sure, but in terms of mechanics and game solutions, what do you have to do? Maybe shut down Solution, because they appear to have had the answer every time that Alabama needs it. They're always involved in the play, and that might put them in contention for player of the game. Dagger looking to turn things around for East Carolina. Jake shooting backboard. Blitz there for the follow-up and unable to convert. Fire dribbling to the sidewall, now taking up and over midfield, has another beautiful touches, and Blitz finally with a clear. Solution getting cut off by High, but the 50 was the better option. Has another shot as they wait. I love the patience that we see from them. Now Dagger looking to get that third goal that they desperately need. Someone's got to be around for the follow-up, and no one will be. This one is out to the side for now with 60 seconds winding for East Carolina.
So smart to get right behind that person with the last one on the defense, if just in case they whiff. They didn't whiff, but the clear was weak enough. That could have been an easy rebound. That just tells that Alabama's in sync on defense, and well, if you're in sync on defense, you make yourself that much harder. A buff, if you will, to get a ball past the net here. It's a separate challenge now for Carolina in the witching hours here in Game 3.
30 seconds to go. Solution finding a pass upfield. This could be the dagger, and it might just be Alabama on the verge of a 3-0 sweep.
Talk about a dagger. That's what I felt here in the booth. Look at how this cut was, and the slice, and it was a near post. Super smart placement there. And 3 goals separate these two squads with less than 30 seconds to go.
This just may be the closing remark of Alabama University. It's Solution trying to get one more nail in the coffin. They don't need it, but sometimes you've just got extra nails laying around. You're like, you know what? I'll take the hammer to it, and we'll go there.
I have extra nails in my apartment. How about that? Yeah. Well, you're right. 10 seconds to go. Looks like Bama gets this one in 3 straight sets here. And you know what? Even though they're the weaker team on paper, it didn't show it at all today. They win in 3 straight games.
This was an incredible performance from Alabama. Certainly what we expected to see after last season's performance. They did pretty well. And one of the teams that does stick in my mind a ton, not necessarily on the way that they had played, and I couldn't tell you specifics, but you do know that Alabama is just a good team overall here, competing in the NECC. Whereas East Carolina, even though they had the better record, like you said, just didn't quite show it like they had it. And Alabama proved to be a tougher challenge for them on this fateful day.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where at first the teams were very, very strong, and what happened was it was a bit of feeling of being overpowered and mental mistakes. It really was a difference in ECU. They did not play particularly poorly. Bama wasn't particularly exceptional. It was just that whenever ECU made a mistake, Bama was there to capitalize.
That is for sure exactly how I would have put it. I mean, anytime that they just weren't going on the offense, Alabama was like, oh, free real estate, free ball. I'll take everything that I can get on it. And they pushed into offensive zone. And very rarely did we see East Carolina really matching them on the pace. And they were just never able to overtake. Maybe sometimes the lead, but the overall speed of the game was just never in their favor. But that is all we got for this series. Another phenomenal one in the books, but we've also got an exciting one up next for you guys. So don't go anywhere, because there's more NECC action right after this.
I wanna take you somewhere, you know I care, but it's so cold and I don't know where. I brought you daffodils in a pretty string, but they won't flower like they did last. And I wanna kiss you, make you feel alright. I'm just so tired to share my night. I wanna cry and I wanna love, but all my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my